guys, welcome to the Real Estate Huddle, and this is episode 55. We're going to talk about generational wealth transfer today and how to set up yourself and your heirs very good financially so that they can be ready to, reap the benefits of your hard work and your efforts in being smart and wise in purchases and investments. That sort of thing. So there's kind of a rubric that a lot of successful people have followed. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and just talk about best practices to help you get there. And just a stat to start us off, and this is the topic why we're talking about this today, is there's $68 trillion that will be passed from baby boomers here in the next few years through 2044. So in the next 20 years, $68 trillion will be passed on to their heirs, with that huge generation of baby boomers that is moving on, supposedly, right, as they're aging.
Much of which is real estate, not all of which.
Much of which is real estate, yeah. Like accumulatively, there's another site that I saw that said about 70 trillion worth of generational wealth is going to transfer to the next generation, and 24 trillion of that being real estate. So about a third of it is real estate holdings that people are holding. And so it's a big portion of people's generational wealth for sure. So just kind of general rule book, like how people are doing this. What do you guys think? What is the best way for people to one, take care of themselves, but also make sure they're taking care of future generations and setting themselves up well?
My stuff was really high level. Like First, own a home. There was something on the radio today, I bet a lot of other people have heard it, is the average age of a first-time home buyer is now 38 years old, and it used to be 20, wow. I don't remember how long ago.
Yeah, it used to be 33 a couple of years ago.
Okay, so it's gone up. That's, on one level, maybe a bad thing, but you're listening to this, right? So just get started. So the first thing is get rid of the other debts so you can buy the first house. That's the most important thing. Start with one, right? Buying, not paying 100% mortgage rate in rent. Start by buying. Once you have it, is then you can start thinking about your plan, which you'll probably talk about, is I can move into another one, rent this out, keep it going. Now you got two properties. Now you start thinking about the next generation, which is what we're really talking about. How do you pass the most of that wealth on?
Yep.
And then pass that mindset on. I think a lot of this we'll talk about today is like a mindset thing.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you focused on? Are you focused on it? Can you teach your kids to focus on it? Vice versa.
I think a lot of people right now are just drowning in affordability, right? So they're just trying to figure out how do I make it to the end of each month and that sort of thing. So that's where a lot of people's mindset is.
This economy,
right.
For sure. I think the biggest thing for me is like, if you can, start as early as you can. Start as early as your finances will allow. Which is hard to say.
Part of what you were saying earlier is like change your mindset. Buy the 1 bedroom, 1 bath because you own it or portions thereof.
Yep.
And then you're going to have ideally better cash flow month to month.
For your first home, there's no need to buy your forever home off the first one. I mean, it's very rare for that to happen. Especially, I think, what are we at? The average time in your home is
7 years,
7 to 10
years.
years.
It used to be 6 or 10, and that's another.
Went up to 9 during the recession. Now back down to 7.
Back down to 7.
Yep.
So 7 is average, right, for time in a home until you sell.
Yeah.
So, I think, don't set your heart on everything you want early. If you're trying to build and look at it from a financial side, we have a lender who's awesome, Greg Manzanares. Has he been on yet? Yeah, he's been on before.
Yep.
That's right.
With Keith.
Yeah, that's right. And he has the wealth system, or I don't know what he calls it, but his whole method, and I love it because it's pretty well known. But you get into your first house, right? It's not going to be the best house. It could be a condo, it could be a townhome, or whatever. Just whatever you can afford. That's going to keep your payments minimal, and you also want to look forward on that first purchase, looking at what it could potentially cash flow for. If you're going to make cash flow on it, are you going to, break even every month if you do rent it out in the future? Because ultimately you're going to jump from that house to the next one in 2 years, right? 2 years from that next one, you'll jump to the next one. You've got 3 properties on your hands. Once you get to that 4th, you should, in most markets, be $1 million in assets, right, in your homes.
But moving sucks, Spencer.
Yes.
That's the.
But it's worth
I
it.
freaking hate moving.
Right?
you're preaching to the
It's
choir.
the worst. I did it last year. It's the worst.
It is terrible. You realize how much crap you have and don't use.
It sucks.
So it is.
There's pain points along the way, right? Anything that's worth it is going to have pain
growing
points.
pains for sure. You're going to hurt financially, probably. You're going to.
I don't want to be a landlord.
Well, then get a property management group. Stop talking to me about that. There's ways around everything, but it's a project. Like it is hard to, like everybody. I'm still trying to get to that point to buy my next property. Right? It's gonna be a grind because, I mean, we've talked about before, and you've talked about a little bit like paying off all debts and getting that. So like there is pain, but pain is gain, right? There in almost all facets most of the time, but
That's just something people say in the weight room.
Yeah.
but yeah, Iron Paradise, that is true. Okay, pain is gain unless you broke something. No, not always.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think there's pain points, and the biggest ones I hear are moving sucks. I don't want to move that much. And the other one is I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to take the risk of having a tenant trash my place and that stuff.
And there's the emotional side of it too. Like people get attached to their home. Like for me, I am one of those sentimental guys where it's like, man, I raised all 4 of my kids in this house. I don't want to move.
Yeah.
Like we have some pretty good memories in this house, and there's a lot that goes into that. But you have to understand, economies are gonna, fall and rise, and there's gonna be hard times and good times. But if you have real estate as an investment, it's not necessarily recession proof or depression proof, but it's pretty close, right? Those are the best assets to have.
One of the
Everyone always
safest
needs a place to
investments. Yep. Absolutely.
So I think the key part that a lot of people don't do is they look for that dream home that has all the emotional appeal. I look at housing as a business. Like treat it like, okay, here's my cost in, here's where I can make improvements to increase the value of this so I can get more out of it.
Yeah.
And to be able to put that mindset to it and take the emotional portion out of it and knowing it's only going to be for a short time, it makes it a lot easier to make that transition.
Yep.
So, and then you make different decisions, right? So I'm going to rent this place out, so I'm not going to put in like $10 a square foot hardwood floors because that's not going to work out very well. I'm going to put in something that's easily removable or, is more durable. So, dogs aren't going to scratch it and kids and everything else. So, you just make different decisions.
Yeah. And maybe you married the wrong person and you can't do this. Like, I'm serious. Like that could be the case. Like
I may have done that.
Yeah. Like, and I don't want to like be insensitive with that, but like this may not work for you, this solution, right? Because of who you married. And that's okay. If that's the case, there's other solutions. There's other ways to create generational wealth. Rather than moving every 2 years. There are other ways to do it. You can buy investment properties with 20% down and you can accumulate those. The bottom line is you just got to make more money and have positive cash flow at the end of every month and keep saving and keep getting there.
Which in most cases tends to be a lot harder than the moving, right? Yeah. Now to the opposite, right? To the counter of the pain points, there is I know a lot of guys that absolutely love doing this. They love going into a property. They love living in it, fixing it up, making it cool, doing their thing, and then selling it, or not selling it, and then renting it and moving on to the next one. They love that.
Sweat equity.
But their spouse probably also loves it. So that's back to the most important question.
Or they're single. Or they're single. Yeah.
So, like Jackson's friend Mac, he's done it 4 times, right? And
but you also have couples that are like,
guy.
they're in it together. They love doing it. They have kids while doing it. Like they're doing it all over the place.
What we're talking about is, I don't know, when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that 28-year-old kid, or I just talked to someone yesterday, I've saved 30 grand. Like, God bless you, start. Because just starting is the most important thing. Like in my case, we're not going to move every 2 years, right? We've been in a house for coming up on 2 decades. But we're still investing in real estate because it's the best place to get returns. And we talked a bit before this, like,
How many times have you guys sat down at a listing appointment with somebody who's been in their house for 2 decades and you tell them how much their home is worth? And my most common response that I get is, I wish I would have bought 2 of them had I had known that.
Yeah.
Same idea,
100%.
same mindset. But
So
sometimes finish my thought is we've started investing not in physical properties, but in the passive income where I can get the benefit over a shorter period of time of increase in value as someone else builds and manages a house, and I just lend them some money, but a very healthy return vis-a-vis what you get in the market. Maybe I'm giving it away, but I also don't have the stress of moving and buying and lending and all that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But fast forward to your point, you've got a couple, $1 million worth of property laying around that you own and that you're renting out.
Yep.
That's generating income. It's paying for the mortgages. And let's say now, 18 years later, it's time to send the kid to college. Now you've got an asset that you can borrow against. Now you have that money. You can do a cash out refinance. You have that. You can pay for the tuition. You don't have to pay taxes on that money.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a total fact.
It's
tax fail-safe.
Yep. It's like a great savings account that you just have to do a little bit of paperwork to get the withdrawal from. So
Yeah. It really is one of the coolest investment opportunities you can be a part of. I know it sounds vanilla. It doesn't sound amazing. It's not the stock market. It's not like day trading. It's real estate. And the reason it's so boring is because it's not volatile.
Yeah.
It holds its value.
Well, we didn't give a disclaimer, like we're totally biased, right? Like you have to take that into account, but data's data, number's a number, history is history.
There's a reason we're in the business, though,
It's
right?
the greatest way to
Because
create
of the
wealth.
numbers
And we
on the
talked
data.
about generational wealth. Like you can make a lot of money, invest in stocks, et cetera, but at this kind of scale, to support the next generation, to teach them how you did it so they can do it again,
Yeah.
that's kind of the mindset.
teaches them that financial discipline, but also that mindset to, treat it like a business.
Think about it the way you,
So, and that is something that it's hard to see because, right, you grow up in grandma's house and she's lived there for 70 years and all that type of stuff. So that becomes an icon for the family. So people are more transient now. So it's much different.
Okay.
And with affordability being such an issue, it helps you get there a lot quicker.
Yep.
So
Definitely. And I'm gonna be a Gen Z for a second, right? And I just throw out another objection.
you look good for Gen Z.
Yeah, thanks. So Jackson on our team, like he's a Gen Z, right? So I'm gonna be Jackson for 2 seconds.
All right.
Grandma bought her house for $40,000, right?
Yeah.
Those days are over. The American dream is over. Home affordability is over. Like where can I find cash flow right now? So like on a rental property, putting 20% down, it's tough to find cash flow. When I started in the business in 2007, it was easy. I could find it anywhere. During the recession, it was all kinds of opportunities all over the place to create mega cash flow on homes. It is very difficult right now. So what would you tell somebody that's in that situation and they're looking at, I can rent a place for $1,800 a month, or I can buy a 1-bedroom condo with a $400 HOA every month that's going to be $2,200 a month.
The more you sacrifice, the further your gains or the bigger your gains will be later on. So it's that compounding interest. But that's the one thing that I've seen a lot of this Gen Z generation is they're much more creative with their finances. They're one person's buying the home and then renting out the basement, or they've got multi-generational style living that they're doing. And there's folks that are getting their mortgage payment paid for essentially 100% by the people they're renting out. Because when you're living in a college dorm and then you're moving to a house, it's not that big of a difference. But if you've got 4 kids and everything else, it makes it a lot harder. So the earlier you start and the more you sacrifice at the beginning, the more it's going to pay dividends all the way down the road.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a little bit, I'm like Chad said, I'm a little biased because I've seen it work for me too, right? With rental properties, but like it was a different environment. It was a different lending environment. I think that for me, my standards have changed a little bit, right? As far as like, if it's break even, throw a party. If I'm having to pay $200 a month on cash flow on an investment right now, I'm willing to do that, right? Maybe take a little bit of a hit monthly because I know that interest rates are going to change eventually. They have to. They go up, they go down, markets change,
and
right?
it's going to appreciate.
Yeah, and we're in a market right now, like currently today, rates are just over 7%, right? We could be in a market in the next couple years, maybe even a year, where we're seeing something in the 4s. You never know, right? And if that does happen, you're saving, $1,000 a month on the average case. And so if that changes, and I bought a place, the advantage right now is price has sagged, right? Which is rare in our market, but price has gone down. So if you buy a place today and you're getting a great deal on it, you're borrowing less at a high interest rate, And then all of a sudden the interest rate changes. Now I've got my investment. I've got my cash flow situation that I can run with, right? That's going to be an investment that will really bless me and future generations. So I guess that would be my point, is like, you can't hold it to the same standard that Robert Kiyosaki held it to 20 years ago and Dave Ramsey's held it to. Like, it's just not there. You don't have those opportunities as much. You have to kind of adjust.
Certainly not in this market. I think, let me, a little tangential, but I think it aligns. We're talking about generational wealth. Like, so my kids are much older and we're going through the college experience. To me, that is a really brilliant thing to do, because you take on in a spreadsheet, what are you going to spend room and board? You find, the problem is the market for these homes in a college town is tough to find. But you buy a home, you rent it out to 3 friends of your kids, you're cash flow positive, your kid lives for free, and you own a now appreciating asset that will always be in demand. And that gets us out of the Denver market, because there's a lot of other easier markets.
But and the other thing is because you have residents there, you can get in-state tuition after the first year.
Bingo bongo. Anyway, that's thinking about it as a business, something that in my era, we missed the boat. We thought about it when we had some cash. We just couldn't find the market. I wasn't in real estate at the time. But if you can find the market, that is a brilliant investment, because it checks all the boxes. You're still building wealth, but you're much easier at creating cash flow, right? And there's always going to be a demand for your service.
Yeah, definitely. And the reason why you would take a little bit of a loss, right, or you would go through the pain points that we talked about, is because the benefits, the upside is huge. Like, it's tremendous with tax benefits, with principal reduction, with future cash flow that you can have, and appreciation. Like, those 4 things add up to, typically on your average rental property, like between $30,000 and $50,000 passive income each year for your investment. And so, like, that's why it's worth the pain, like pushing through the pain or pushing through a little bit of negative cash flow sometimes, so that you could get to that point in the future.
Well, can you imagine going into retirement with, let's say, 4 rental properties, each cash flowing $30,000 a year?
Yeah.
You know, that's a comfortable retirement with all of that, plus whatever else you've saved elsewhere. That's
Once you get the mortgage paid off.
and if things get tough, you could always sell an asset, and hey, there you go.
So,
but that steady residual income, that's an amazing opportunity for a lot of folks. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was going to plug the market that we have right now, because my biggest frustration this year has been the fact that we educate as much as we can, but then people decide to go sometimes against what our education says. If you are looking to buy whether it's a home, but like, especially like an investment property right now, or you're just building your portfolio, I don't know if there's a better time to do it than right now. If you think about the time frame we're in, the market we're in, we're in like, homes are for sale. Like, they're going, 30% off right now. Like, it's
30%.
They're
Feels like it
but
sometimes.
sometimes it feels like it, because like, sellers are hurting to sell and motivated to sell their house right now. So if you're looking to buy your next property, now is like better time than ever, because we're getting concessions, we're getting buy downs, we're getting temporary and permanent buy downs, we're getting
new HVAC systems.
We're getting, like, it is easy, not easy, but a lot easier to negotiate the price, the terms, everything on an offer right now, and getting into a home while we know rates are going to drop.
And we've been talking about this for 10, 12 episodes on some level, but it wasn't that long ago that we were just about at 6, and now we took back up. It still holds. It's still the best buying season most of us had known for some time.
Yeah. And I know you hear that from realtors a lot. Like, it's just, sometimes it seems like a sales tactic. But when we say, like, now's a really good time to buy, it's usually true, right? With us, it is, for sure. Our team is we know the numbers, we see the future projections and things like that.
And we've lived through a market where the supply is 1,200 homes, and right now we're at over 10,000. So
and like,
makes a difference.
It's just one of those things where it's like, if you've even thought about it, get moving. Like, let's get things in gear because the market's going to change, and before you know it, it's going to be a little bit more competitive than it was.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and so I think what we're trying to say is like I would say the average person, buys a house, lives in it for a long time, and maybe upgrades it eventually or something like that, and then they, once they pass on, they may have some debt on it that gets paid off, and then they may pass that house on to split it between their kids, right? And so we're talking about the difference between, doing that. It's not for everybody, but if you were to multiply that and have a few, then that goes a lot further, for you, helping you live comfortably and helping your heirs as well.
And make sure rental properties, you have an LLCs and you have a management company and you have a trust for the family. It saves in the event of the passing, you can skip probate and go through the headache. So you can spend a lot of money on probate, and then there's a big delay while this house would sit empty as you're trying to negotiate. So make sure you look into that, get some great estate planning advice from an attorney.
Shout out to like an estate attorney and a CPA. Make sure you're talking to them.
Those would be some good guests to have on.
Yeah, lean on some professionals there. That'll benefit you. So hopefully this has been beneficial listening to this. And if you have questions about how you can do this, how you can prepare more, if this has kind of opened your eyes to buying more properties or possibly making a move and renting your home out, anything like that, we're happy to help you with that in the Colorado area or connect you with a great agent that can do that in your local market. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. So if you have enjoyed what you're listening to and you'd like to hear more, make sure to press that subscribe button so that you can not miss out on any more episodes that are coming up. And also check out all of our contact information is below. You can see us at the dreamsmithteam.com to look up more information about our team and our history and all of the members of our team, and see contact information that you can reach us if you have any real estate needs.
See you next time.